Welcome to In the Black, the podcast that shines a light on resilience, transformation, and the power of reinvention. I'm Araceli, and each week my co host Shannon and I sit down with incredible women who face some of life's hardest challenges, from personal setbacks to societal obstacles, and have emerged on the other side stronger, driven, and ready to make a difference.
On In the Black, we celebrate these stories of strength and success, diving deep into the journeys of women who turned pain into purpose, adversity into action, and now dedicate themselves to making the world a better place in their own way. They're here to inspire, share hard earned wisdom, and remind us all that no matter how dark life may seem, life is cyclical and dawn is coming. So, whether you're looking for inspiration, motivation, or just a reminder that change is always possible, this is the podcast for you. Welcome to In the Black.
Today we have Reonda Thompson. Reonda is a poet from Kansas City, Missouri, who began writing at the age of 17. Her first poem, inspired by her father, marked the beginning of a lifelong journey of self expression and healing through words. Writing has served as a therapeutic outlet for Reonda, allowing her to explore and process the complexities of life, love, and identity. With a deep commitment to her craft, she continues to write poetry that reflects her personal experiences and the world around her. So, welcome, Reonda, to our podcast.
Hi. I am so excited to have you on here. I just had my first poetry book published and I love hearing other poets. So I'm excited to learn from you and hear about what you're doing for the world. Tell us a little bit about you, just like a brief snippet about where you are, what you're doing right now.
I've been just writing poetry to heal myself. I've been diagnosed with bipolar depression, so I use words to make me feel better for the most part, and I have been published in many literary magazines.
That's an amazing accomplishment. Literary magazines are pretty hard to get into, so congratulations on that.
Thank you. To date, I have been published in Chocolate Ink, Resolute Mag, Purpose Woman's Magazine, Kansas City Magazine, Bold Journey Magazine, The Black Sunflower, Canvas Revel, Viewless Wings Podcast, and Voyage KC Magazine.
Nice. That's awesome. Okay, well, let's start at the very beginning. Can you take us back to a pivotal moment when you faced a huge challenge that felt like there was no way you could overcome it? What was happening in your life? How did that impact you? Just take us back to that moment in time and kind of walk us through that.
I'm 38 years old, and 2 years ago, August 16, 2022, I gave birth to my fourth child. 2 months after his birth, I just suddenly kind of lost it. I didn't know anything. You might say, what is that about? No, literally, I went crazy. I was really tired. I didn't know what day it was. I was trying to get into strangers' cars. I thought my TV was attacking me. Like I thought the people inside the TV were talking to me in a mean way. I sent weird texts to friends and loved ones. I thought movies were real life. I was very out of reality. I was scared. I was in the psych ward and I thought I had committed a crime, even though I hadn't. It's been 2 years since my episode, and I reflect and I am thankful I am in my right mind today. Thank God. I can't really say why that happened. I had 4 kids, and that was really embarrassing for me. I was like, what is going on? Why am I doing this? Why is this happening? I got through it. I've been in psych wards and I have tried to commit suicide many times. I never felt like I belonged. Like, even though I had the talent to write, I'm like, why am I a writer? Like, this is a dumb profession. Like, I feel like I should be somebody else. I wanted to be somebody else. I felt unloved. I felt alone in the world. Like nobody cares about poetry. Um, when I was younger, I used to get bullied a lot, and they laugh and tease me and say, "You're always writing. You're always by yourself. You're weird." So a lot of times I would try to be somebody else. Like, well, it must be something wrong with writers. As time has gone on in my life, I've had a lot of self discovery. Like, there's nothing wrong with writers. Writers are wonderful. We create the world with our words. We have a presence. We have this aura, people listen to us. I realized that people are listening to me. And even though I thought that they weren't, they were.
Progress is absolutely one of the most important things that we can use, because your journey is always going to be different from everyone else's journey. So obviously you can't judge your journey based on anyone else's. And I am personally so proud of you, because continuing to write and continuing to do the thing that brings you help in your own way and now is helping the world around you, that is just so powerful. And I just want you to know that we are very proud of you for doing that. Now, I'm just curious, do you think that there were specific events? Obviously, the birth of your son was some sort of trigger in that. Do you think there were other people and circumstances that may have made the situation more difficult or more complicated?
I hadn't been taking my meds and I hadn't had much sleep. I was really I was really exhausted, like really, really exhausted. It's really different from having kids in your 20s to now having a kid almost at 40. Your body is worn out. I mean, seriously, I'm not going to even lie. For me, that's how it was. I hadn't even heard of postpartum psychosis. I heard of postpartum, but not psychosis. So the psychosis is like, it's like being in a world where your mind is not your friend. Like you're your enemy. Like, and you're like, where am I? It's like you're wandering. You're alive. You know you're not dead, but and you can feel everything, but you're out of it. You are out of it. Well, my dad had problems with drug use. I was just sitting there one day and I decided to put my feelings down on paper. I never knew I was a poet. I was like, I wrote a poem, but I never really embraced it. I never liked to put myself on blast. It has always been easier for me to encourage or uplift or brag on others. With depression, you are your worst enemy. Writing my first poem and dealing with my dad's addiction, even then, because I was only 17, but even then I wasn't really writing a lot. What has helped me the most? Overcoming certain things. Like, I have been raped before. I have tried to commit suicide. I've had family members who were murdered. That has helped me get through it, the writing. I've had family members who have committed suicide. Matter of fact, I lost a family member in March of this year, and I wrote a poem about it. I have just used writing for all types of occasions, all types of feelings that I've had, whether it be night or day. I've wrote about the moon. I wrote about women's empowerment. I wrote about my children. I wrote about, can I share a poem? So on this particular day, I wrote a woman, brazen, bold, beautiful, a woman, strong, endearing, full of challenges, full of mistakes, full of grace, wisdom, love, opposite of a man, soft, sweet, fleshly, ripe, regal, flourishing flower, blessings bestowed upon her, God's gift, a woman, brown skin, glazed in the sun with honey and glitter.
That's beautiful. Is
And
that
so,
your vision of yourself?
in one aspect, like when I'm being soft when I'm loving on myself, should I say. I like the fact that I'm multi-talented because I can use my feelings and I can say what I feel, and in that moment I can project, okay, I felt like this. When that murder happened, I felt like this. When that rape happened, I felt like this. When I had my children, I felt like this. When I was homeless, I felt like this. Some people can identify, some people don't understand. Some people want to know more. Some people tell me, "Oh my goodness, that was crazy." Or they tell me, "You are so talented."
How did you manage to get out of, the depression? Or are you still going through it? Or how did you manage to come out of homelessness? And what was the pivotal point in getting yourself out of the situation?
I just had a close friend to help me with my homelessness.
Community can be very vital when you're trying to overcome anything, just being willing to reach out. Was that part hard for you, to reach out and ask for help?
Well, really, I didn't think that I could ask anybody. So if I pass away, that my words will always be around and they'll be felt.
Were there any smaller early victories or breakthroughs during the tough times that you've been through that gave you a glimpse of hope or direction?
I was really excited when I was published in my first magazine, The Chocolate Ink, in 2016.
Can you take us to how you got published? How did you get into that first magazine? What was the process?
A lady was on Facebook. We talked and she had a magazine and she was having open submissions. I just submitted. I was accepted in to be in her magazine. I was like, oh my goodness. And I didn't even keep the first copy, but I'm like, wow, my writing is going somewhere.
So did that snowball into other magazines, or how did that open the door for you?
I just kept trying. Then I would stop for a little while and then I get discouraged. And then I hear somebody else talk about their poetry or talk about how they are an author. And then I get stirred up again.
That's awesome. If we're talking to the listeners now and someone's facing a struggle similar to yours, whether it's with mental health or in finding the strength to continue, what personal qualities do you think were essential to that? And how can other people cultivate those qualities in themselves?
Every day can be a struggle, but it doesn't have to be. You don't have to focus on it. Because sometimes I wake up and I'm like, this is hard. I'm raising a baby all over again. I have 3 teenagers and I started all the way over. And sometimes I can wake up and focus on it. But if you focus on the bad all day, then you'll feel bad all day. You have to be honest. How do you feel today? I feel bad. Well, what can you do to not feel bad? Work on it. If somebody died, don't focus on their death. Focus on something else. Get up and do something. So I would say be honest. You never know whose life you're affecting. You never know. You just have to realize that you're human. And if you need to cry, then cry. If you need to scream, then scream. So find something that you love and just keep doing it. And so what if it's writing? Because that's what you're here for. So that's why I would tell a person, just every day, just do something. Because then you'll look back and say, I did something. I didn't die. I didn't let myself die.
That is so powerful. Our entire podcast, everything that we're doing is all based around the fact that if and when you are authentically you, that's when you will make the most impact and you will have the world around you change. And so I think it's really beautiful that you've figured out a way to accept all the different parts, because we all have the dark and we all have the light in us. And I think a lot of times we want to avoid that. And when you said just be honest, feel your feelings. If you're having a hard day, just be willing to say, I am having a hard day today. Did you know that if you are not willing to feel your feelings, they will bother you forever? But if you sit down with your emotions, it only takes 7 minutes to fully feel through an emotion. And so many people are not willing to take that 7 minutes and say, this is hard, this feels bad. And it would change their entire life if they were willing to do that. And I think it's so powerful what you said, that we can do that. So thank you. I love that authenticity and honesty is your primary mission.
Reonda, could you tell us what's next on your journey with your poetry?
Well, I want to write a book, write many books. I'm still gonna submit to literary magazines
I
because
am personally very excited to read what you have coming out, and I have no doubt that you will be published. Where can our listeners find you?
well, I have a YouTube channel, Elaborate Expressions, that you can listen to. I have poetry on Instagram. On Instagram, I'm Lovely Reonda. If you want to use my services, you can email me at Mrs. Osby 27@gmail.com, my poetry, and I can write about your experiences you've had in your life and write a poem in that and then give it to you. And I can put it in a frame if you like, come to your event if you would like me to, and recite the poem. I did that at a graduation back in 2020.
So something that we always ask, being in the black, the reason that we named it that is it's talking about being in a positive place after you've been in the negative at some point and with something in regards to your life. So what does being in the black or being in the positive mean to you?
That means that I wake up, put on my makeup, and I dance in the mirror like I did this morning. I put on my dress. You work it. You work them hips. You work your womanly, God given talent, okay? And that is being a woman. You put on the makeup, you put on the lipstick, you put on the earrings, you put the flat irons to good use, you put your hair, you let it down, you wear the red, okay? And you strut your stuff and you say, I am here, baby. And you let them know that you are taking control of you. And that's all you can do is be kind to yourself. But as my sister would say, because she's my cousin and she's like a sister to me. And so she would tell me to give myself grace and forgive myself. And so that's what you do. And that is in the black.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Listeners, thank you for joining us also. I hope that today's story is leaving you feeling inspired and reminded of the incredible strength that lies within each of us. Reonda has taken her toughest challenges and she is transforming them into something so beautiful. And I mean, everything that she said is all about the darkest moments are a way that we can actually bring light into the world.
If you've enjoyed today's conversation, make sure to subscribe and share In the Black with another woman who could use a little encouragement. Together, we're building a community of passion, purpose, and power. Until next time, stay strong, stay inspired, and remember your story matters. Your choices change things, and being your most authentic self can and will change the world around you.